Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hey!
Hello.
So, hey everybody, welcome to CityLoveSpeask. We are excited to have you guys again with us this week. This is our 10th episode. Go figure.
Woo!
Wow.
So real quick and so fast. So very, very excited.
So fast.
Lots and lots and lots to talk about tonight. So just gonna do like we normally do. So first off, going to introduce our beautiful co-host, Kat Katira from Las Vegas. I was like
Woo!
Jeff Sobodash in New York City.
Jeff.
Darius.
Hello.
Warren,
Ma'am will do.
That is in Pennsylvania. Our special guest host that has been riding and dying with us for
Yes,
now
he has.
4 episodes, Dwayne A. Townsend in Philadelphia. Say hello, Dwayne.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. You know what? I'm black. I'm back. Sorry. And I'm so glad to be here, guys. It's a privilege.
And of course, I'm Dray from Dray City. And so we're going to get started. We're going to start our week off like we normally do with our mental health check-in. Darius, all you.
Awesome. So mental health check-in. So on yesterday on Working It Out with Darius, we did comedy therapy and we had Andrew Todd on and Andre Walker on, two comedians that just share their experience with comedy, their relationship with comedy, and how they use comedy to deal with and cope with their mental health. So it was a really, really excellent episode. Had some really good feedback from the audience. We're looking forward to Monday at 8 o'clock. Is going to be music therapy and dance therapy. So we're going to have singer-songwriter Gregory Douglas with us and dance educator, choreographer Tabitha Robinson Scott. So it's going to be pretty amazing. We're just going to continue this conversation through to the end of the month. So awesome.
So how's everybody doing? Like, it's been a while since all of us have been together.
I know.
Yeah, sorry about last week too. Sorry about that.
You know, things happen. So how's everybody doing?
Shame on you, ma'am.
This week.
Shame on you, ma'am.
We're gonna be friends.
So Katera, how's it going?
I carried on Fire Island for like less than a day ago. So
Gotcha.
I feel
Wow.
I feel like I
Loose
don't
as a
even
goose?
know. I don't even know. Yeah, I carried pretty hard actually. I was yeah, but good. Life, you know, it's good. You know,
And we bless God for that. Thank you.
you know. Did
We
you
bless him for that.
total side note? Did you happen to see the picture of the tree that I posted that looks exactly like Mitch McConnell?
Yes.
No, I swear to God, I was like, "Am I high? Like, what?" And then I'm looking at this and I'm like, "No. This tree looks exactly like Mitch McConnell. Like, just frumpy and ugly."
Did you have George Washington fantasies wanting to chop the tree down? Is that what happened?
I hope not. Please.
No.
So,
How's everybody
how
else doing
down there over in Vegas in COVID City now?
Still COVID free. But no, it's good. Work's been good. We have so many positives, which is good. Like this week, 3 entire families all tested positive for COVID. So second shutdown coming soon. Fingers crossed.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's just the numbers are just going up and up and up. Like I don't think there's anyone dying, but more people are testing positive.
Okay.
Bananas.
All right.
Bananas.
And Dwayne, how's it
Yeah.
going in Philly? How you handling
You know what? I'm handling it well. Philly's okay. I mean, you know, Mama needs her juice every day to kind of get through, you know, the challenges of Philadelphians and they're just not thinking sometimes. You know what? But I love them because I have to, because I live here.
And so Darius, how are you? Like,
Darius is doing good. I had a great weekend because I don't know if everybody knows this
Oh
or not,
yeah.
but Dray and I have actually never met in person until this past weekend.
Oh,
So yeah, so I
what
went.
was this?
Yeah,
Like no one, like you would have thought we've been friends since like third grade. Like it's really kind of funny.
yeah. We
We had
just
a
met
really
during.
great time this weekend. We had a lot done.
Yeah, some
We're
really good therapy.
And you didn't come to visit me?
Where are you? You're in Philly.
Oh,
Yes.
We'll talk. We'll talk. 'Cause I'm actually
That's a train ride away.
Philly is not New York. He lives in New York. Look at
are you
it.
still are you still in New York, Darius?
No. I came back on Monday morning. Monday afternoon. Yeah. So yeah,
Oh, New
Jeff.
York. I got it all messed up. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
you good now? You good? Are we good?
Okay, I tell you, I was a blonde in another life. I swear to you, I was a blonde, and then I was Joan of
not
Arc
now.
also.
Apparently, this life too.
Yeah.
I thought it was current. No, just saying. You know, like, I thought your blindness was current. Well, in speaking about COVID, right now we are at 5.14 million confirmed cases in the United States, with 164,000 deaths. Um, no legislation on testing affirmations have actually happened. Currently in New York City, AOC, you know, we love her around here. CityLoveSpeask has just slammed and drugged Governor Cuomo because there's a plan to send the kids back to school in the fall, which is September, but gyms and theaters are still closed. There is no indoor restaurant eating, and bars are still closed as well. So how do you guys feel about this after going back to school, the kids going back to school when adults can't even do adult things? And adults are a little more
You have
responsible
the
than kids.
dirtiest demographic of people to go all into a room together for 8 hours.
Right.
Kids are dirty.
Kids are filthy.
They cough with their mouths open. They touch each other. They put their fingers in their no.
This is true.
And then just think children go to the bathroom. How many kids don't wash their hands?
I mean, yeah, kids don't wash properly, don't wipe properly.
Like all of the above. But they're trying to make that happen. So Governor
I understand why they're doing it, and that's because they hate poor people. But then,
well, true. I was like, so Governor Mike DeWine of Ohio just had to cancel a presidential visit because he tested positive for COVID. One thing about New York City, I mean, you can say what you want to say about Cuomo, but Cuomo was one of the few governors that has been on top of keeping New Yorkers informed, putting strict guidelines for us, because we were the city now that a whole bunch of other cities are now. So
and he's also not afraid to block other areas from coming in, you know, to put restrictions. Which,
but that's why opening schools makes no sense, because you've been on top of it this entire time, and then suddenly you're like, well, they got to learn. Like, there are so many options, but those options require you giving low-income students access to the internet, which you don't want to do.
yeah. And it doesn't make sense to me
this
that
is an easily solvable problem, but they don't want to actually solve it. They want to see how many more kids will get sick, and hopefully there will be low population control.
Well, I don't get that it's like school. I know this is shitty. It's kind of shitty to say, but like school is something that can be performed online at this point. And going out to eat in a restaurant and going into a bar is something that cannot be done online.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It to me it's really awkward. It's just it doesn't fit. It seems it's just so politicized. that's the call that they're having to make because of politics, not because of actual giving a shit about the health of the children or the teachers for that matter.
Well,
You know,
I agree. So,
it doesn't make any sense.
well, the part of the larger issue is, you know, with the whole, with Betsy DeVos
Ugh.
being, you know, the Secretary of Education.
Garbage.
And right, I said so, and I don't believe that the kids here in New York anyway are going to go back to school in the fall, just because numbers are going to spike again a little too fast. I believe that Cuomo is only saying this because states that do not have a plan in place for the kids to go back to school in the fall are going to like have all these penalties, governmental penalties of not being able to access funds and money, which New York can't really take that risk. So I 100% understand where his like thought process is, because he's continuously saying that the first spike, it's shut down again. Like, Cuomo does not at all have a problem shutting the city down, the whole state down, at a drop of a hat. So,
well,
I don't
that
think
to
he
me is
wants
also.
to.
Sorry, I always interrupt.
Interrupt.
But like that to me seems counterproductive too. Like if you're sitting here and we are anticipating a second wave, which we are,
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
nationwide, then why are we proceeding with this only to have to take step backward then to go
So
back
you can
online
blame Trump. I
and have
told you so.
this secondary clusterfuck for the fall semester? You know what I mean? Like you're gonna get all the way up until November, and then we're gonna have a tick up again, right? And then we're gonna have to put this kids on online again and have to reorganize all that again. It's like, why not just finish out the year as we're doing for everybody's safety, and call it a year. Can we just put up the fucking Christmas tree and call it a year? I mean, let's just call it a year.
Listen. I said it before. 2020 is done. It's gone.
Done, boo.
We are not skipping Halloween. Hold on.
Yeah, we're not going
We are not skipping Halloween. We do Halloween.
Well,
girl, it's been Halloween all year.
Yes, Mama, yes, Halloween. Boo.
Sorry. Well, the good is, so in New York City, the average school in New York City, average public elementary school, spends $6 million a year on school maintenance, where that money could actually go to fortifying computers for all children that do not have them, or they don't have them in their home, or tablets or pads. But what it would do is, to be able to send all of our children to school via home and homeschool in that manner, that means that internet would have to be free. And so, which they're still, like, I think this is part of where the larger issue is. And so, like, I grew up in a time where you paid for long distance.
Yeah.
And now we no longer do that.
Or you count your minutes.
Right. Or you're counting minutes on your phone.
Yes.
So
it's like, it's not 8 o'clock yet. We have to wait.
Yeah, right. Savings was real.
I don't know what we talk about.
And you know, if you weren't T-Mobile, if you weren't in my network, don't call me.
Don't call me.
Free.
That part.
Well,
so we're going to that place, and with you would think in our legislation, we would really be a place where we are talking about internet no longer having a charge, because even television is forcing us to join subscriptions to public networks. Why am I? If you're on CBS network, why do I need to pay a streaming fee to see other shows that should actually be on your government-funded network?
Yep.
Well,
hello, somebody. Say it again.
I think if I may play devil's advocate, you know, just on my street right over here on the same square block that I live on, there are 2 modules that you can make free phone calls and get and a free charging station for your phone and free Wi-Fi for your phone and tablets, right?
Right.
When you go down to the subway platform, the little pop-up comes up on your phone. You want to log into the free Wi-Fi here on the MTA, right? So it does not that I'm saying it on the scale that you need. It's starting to exist just out and about. You can be walking down the street and you pass a hotel. It'll ask you if you want to log into that hotel's without any room key, without anything along those lines, right?
Mhm.
I think the problem is, and this is my small red streak coming through, so forgive me. When you start to state fund media, which is what Wi-Fi is, basically, that's where the red hats are going to have problems with, and that's where we're going to have pushback for that, because that's how things started in World War II. And that they're going to be their argument about how healthcare was how it started in World War II when it was state funded back then. So it's to them it would be just an extension. And this isn't my view. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate as far as how the public would see it. It's basically an extension of government, a government grip, for whatever it's worth.
I want to agree with that, and I want to also shift the conversation to another area as well, because as we talk about, children going back to school, the option of them going online, we have to address all the factors in this, because another part of children actually going back to school is that some of them only access meals when they're at school.
Yeah.
It's more than the internet and all this kind of stuff. We're going to have to answer to all of this divide that we have between haves and have not, and poverty, because education is supposed to be free, supposed to be something that is publicly funded for people to have access to regardless, right? But then now we're going to move into a model where people can access it regardless. We're going to have to fix everything so that they can do that, and therein lies the problem.
Well, I think a lot of that was what Nancy Pelosi was trying to push with their end of the bill, because they were trying to cut food stamps and food credit, for children and whatnot, while giving themselves a break for important lunch,
Right. Okay.
tax
So,
breaks and lunch.
Jeff, you're jumping ahead.
And I'm like,
that's our fourth segment.
okay. I'm sorry. See,
It's like,
listen,
pause.
I'm out of line.
You jumped ahead. You jumped ahead.
I'll just drink my drink until I'm called on.
So I was like, gonna pull it back a little bit. So
like, wait.
Celebrating. So protect and respect. We want everybody to wear a mask. Masking has been able to help in all forms. All major stores have now joined the protect and respect by wearing a mask and forcing employees as well as customers to wear a mask to be safe for all people everywhere around. So # wear the damn mask.
Exactly.
So, this
My poppy store sells
celebrating phenomenal women color. And today we got some amazing news. So, Senator Kamala Harris has been nominated and accepted to be the Democratic VP candidate on the Harris-Biden 2020 campaign. Jeff,
yes.
what are your thoughts?
Well, I would like to say I called this about a year and a half ago. I called it so long ago. I said it's a perfect mid Democrat, not super left leaning ticket that could really draw a bunch of people together. So I'm happy about it. I'm incredibly happy about it. Now, I went back today to go ahead and take another look at her when she was in San Francisco, when she was, Attorney General, and she was considered to be a hard prosecutor. Now, there were some questionable upholdings of rulings for people that were that it had appeared that there was evidence tampering and stuff like that, and there was still some upholding on her behalf. So that to me doesn't really sit right. But the bottom line is I think that if we're casting a net to just get this fucking ridiculous person out of the White House, then this was probably the best bet. I was also looking at Tammy Duckworth because I thought, well, damn. I mean, it's hard to contend with a an Asian American war veteran hero who had lost her legs in the line of duty. You'd be hard pressed to to argue with her, and she's tough as can be too. So, but with Kamala, it was like, she has a much broader appeal. I think the younger liberals are going to
she doesn't
initially
really though. Like honestly, she doesn't. Like Kamala is like probably out of all of the candidates that they have to compete, the millennials hate her the most.
No, I know.
Partially because she has been very flip-floppy on, which this was, I'm going to say, this surprised me when you were excited about this because I'm going, so Kamala was part of the not defending Proposition 8. Kamala has been very active in the factor of, she was for the body cams, but she did not press that issue for it to be throughout all of California. It was only for Los Angeles and for certain areas in Los Angeles that it was being pushed. She has been she's been very not the fan. Like she was known as an avid pot smoker, but was prosecuting someone that had a dime bag.
Her biggest issue is that
I want to hear.
She
like you try to pander to the young black generation, but you're black. Like just be black. Like nothing you say sounds genuine because you're trying to convince people that you're this super black woman. Like you're just be normal, be yourself. So people don't like her personally. People don't like her politics because she's a cop, and millennials don't like cops.
Right.
So,
she needs to keep it 100%.
She was the smartest choice for Joe Biden because everyone else, though, there was was a governor senator in Louisville, Breonna Taylor. You messed that up, so you're not getting the pick. Then there was a woman from Michigan. Flint still has dirty water. You messed that up, so you're not getting the pick. Like she's the safest choice because her controversy isn't as bad as you're actively killing your own citizens or you are actively protecting the police for murdering one of your citizens. Like hers are small things in the grand scheme of things, but she's not genuine. That's a politician, so like it's a good choice.
Right.
Like no one's up that high, but no one's all that.
Ultimately, African Americans, as she said in the debate against Biden when she tried to take him down, that when he was against the busing, the integration of schools and busing, that she was one of the little black girls on the bus. Like what this shows, like on a democratic standpoint, this whole olive branch of forgiveness, but no, like so. I mean,
people barely like
right now,
Biden.
You kind of don't have a choice. Like, you either get I think this is where the debate went wrong, and why Orangina is president right now because people just could not stand.
That's where I'm at, Dray. Is like I am not 100% Biden fan. I am not 100% Harris fan. But where we're at,
anything is better than what we have.
That's all I'm saying. It's just like
listen. Is there any way we can get Jill Stein to come back onto the ballot? We need the Green Party. Here we go. We need to get them on there.
At this point, I'm just advocating for unification. We're not all going. There's no, and the reason the Republican Party does so well is because they step in line with each other. Mm-hmm. They do not break with each other, and I think that there's a lesson to be learned there. And I do think that there is also the possibility of being able to, once we have these people in office, we can lean on the far left to help guide their policies and their legislation and everything like that. But for the moment, my whole thing is just like, listen, I don't like them 100% either. But what's going on right now
Right.
is like we got people ironing their sheets and folding their brown shirts and getting ready for like, and their tiki torches are sold out. You know what I mean? Like it's getting scary. So I don't even mean to be getting scary. It's been scary.
Yeah.
And I think like this will be a telling point as far as the experiment of democracy. Will it fail in this next election? Because if he is elected again, in my most humble opinion, I think democracy has failed.
Mm-hmm.
That's where
I'm just glad that he picked a VP that's under 60.
What happened?
So I'm just glad he picked someone that's under 60 because it's nothing but a bunch of.
I have a theory. I'm gonna say it.
Well, I think they did
but
because
it's
they
indicative of your population, and the average population is mid-30s, and the average population of the government is early 70s, and that's you're unrelatable. Like you don't understand what's going on in the world now because you're still stuck on when you were in your 40s in politics, but the world's different. You need younger candidates to help you kind of maneuver what the next generation needs because your generation is going to, Joe Biden's generation is going to be dead. Like your generation doesn't really matter for the long term. Like you need to start focusing on the younger generation, get them to vote, and actually listen to the things that we need.
Well, I had my things with Obama because at first there was nothing, no support being shown for the gay community from him either. But I think what's most telling as far as any kind of candidate is if they are willing to grow and admit their last or past mistakes. I think that's the most telling thing of any sort of candidate. Be like, you know what, I fucked up, and this is wrong. But you look at dumb fuck McGee in the office right now, and he doubles down on his misgivings and his hate. So for me, it's like, Obama didn't have all his shit together too, but I mean, he's still a hero in my eyes as far as it comes to the gay community, because he came around, So I think it's important to also keep in mind when you're looking at people, candidates and politicians, if they have the ability to grow, and that's just where I'm coming from, because I'm wary of the cancel culture. Even though when I was on Fire Island, I went up to the grocery store and I had asked for some beans because we were making tacos and burritos, and they put a can of Goya up on the counter, and I pushed that shit right back. I said, "No, I'm not." But also it reminded me that I was on Fire Island and I shouldn't be eating beans. But like,
that part.
You know better. Come on now.
Cancel culture, like not supporting a company because of their political beliefs is 100% okay. Canceling someone for something they said when they were 14 years old and now they're 24 with their father, that's stupid.
Yeah.
It's like cancel things that matter. Yes, cancel for them because as a consumer, we control
exactly
their success.
Exactly.
So, Darius, you said you had a theory. What is that?
Wait, who?
I'll put my theory like this. Okay. I have concerns about. Here's the thing. Biden is old, and it looks like he is aging quickly as we come close to this election.
In his basement.
So, I'm like, dude,
leave him alone. Leave him alone. Yes, he's in his basement. Continue, Darius.
I'm at the
staying safe.
So is
he
Bernie.
needs to be safe.
Like Bernie's
like
the wrong person to have a stroke and die.
well, here's my thing. Like, I'm really kind of over the whole narrative of like old white men anyway. So like, that's how I feel about that in particular. So like, I'm all about just changing that whole narrative about when it comes to leadership anyway. So, but it concerns me. I mean, I just hope that whoever his VP is that now, we know it's Harris. I'm hoping that she's ready to stand up because I don't know, man. I'm just concerned that he might not make
That
it.
she's about to become the president?
Yeah, I'm concerned.
But I think why he picked someone that's a little more left than he is.
She's slightly more left, but not a pinch, just a whisper. But I see this comment here from Andrew Todd, and I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. And it's like, I think there will never, ever be the most perfect unifying candidate ever.
It doesn't exist because
it doesn't exist.
You love him, that means 50% of the population hates him. There's no.
Yeah, listen, I'm not even kidding. I got plenty of people that hate my guts. So, you know, it's just how it is, you know. But, you know, I think 78 years old will be how old he will be in January 20th of next year.
Say that again. 78 years old.
78 being the oldest president ever to take
the
office.
Oldest.
I read an article a couple of weeks ago saying that he wasn't picking a VP. He was picking somebody who he thought could take over literally the presidency.
Yes.
Should he die in office, which is, I hate, you know, I don't like to be grim and dark.
Me either.
All the time.
Oh, he's knocking on death's door.
But what happened?
He's knocking on death's door. He's
exactly, girl. So what I'm saying is like he's picking somebody who he thinks that is strong enough to lead the country if he is gone. And you know what? She sure the fuck showed it in those in the hearings. She is. I'm like, listen, we need a prosecutor. We need somebody that stood in the face of, you know, I was just watching this thing on CNN where Dianne Feinstein, after the shooting of a cop in San Francisco, they called for the death penalty for the person that was caught for shooting the cop. And she stood firmly in the belief that she doesn't believe in the death penalty, which I happen to agree upon. But in this cop's funeral, Dianne Feinstein, without naming Kamala, said the Attorney General needs to administer or use the death penalty as the punishment at this man's funeral during his eulogy. And Kamala still stood in her fucking, you know, she still said, nope, I don't believe in it. We're not going to give this man the death penalty. So it's that kind of, I don't look at that as stubbornness. I think that's like, these are strong morals to operate by, and she stood by them, you know? So I think that is, when you see that kind of, like, she knows what's right, and like, that's, you know, you don't put people, I don't know. I don't want to get into that debate right now. I don't know how everybody feels about that, but I am not for the death penalty. But she stood up for what she believed in, and it was ultimately the right decision, in my opinion. So I think she'll be a strong president, need be.
Yeah. She might have to step
in women that are strong in their convictions. This weekend, Sam J, a writer from SNL, debuted her first live comedy stand-up special on Netflix.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing. I thought she was
hilarious.
She said everything that I did. I think what I love more than anything was it was the first time I think I saw how she sees the president in the sense of like, she was like, the Democrats don't know what to do because this is all back of the bus energy right now. Like, this is straight thugged out. This is like, she was like, we finally got a nigga in office, and they thought it was gonna be the black one, and it's not. He was like, the first thing he did was roll up and was like, let 11 of his friends out of jail. Why?
I like him.
Like, I like them. Like, they my friends. Let them out. Like, I was like, wow, I never quite thought of it in that factor. It was like, I love her. Like, I'm forever a Sam J fan. Now,
I liked her. Did anyone else watch it?
I haven't seen it yet.
So I really enjoyed it. It was hilarious. There is one thing that I need to speak out about And I was trying to figure out how to speak out about it, and I came up with this beautiful analogy. So in one of her segments, she talks about women having a choice whenever like they're faced with abuse or like in a
Me
situation
too.
where
Yeah.
it's above them. And I don't agree with that. I agree with it, but I don't agree with it. And here's why. So we grow up in a society where, as a kid, you're taught not to talk back to authority, not to don't talk back to adults, don't do this, don't do that. And so you carry that into your adulthood. You carry that into your jobs, and you carry that everywhere you go. And so it's like here you are in a situation where you're faced with that you're not expecting. So almost like, let's say you're walking down the street, and all of a sudden, a big old pit bull is in front of you, or I'm not even gonna use that. Let's say a big old chihuahua, because you know how we always try to say pit bulls are bad. It's like running after you, you're scared to death, it bites you and run away. And you get home and you're like, oh my God, this dog bit me. And everybody says, well, you had a choice, you could have ran. That's not fair, because when you're there and you're stricken with fear, you don't sit here and tell me I had the choice, I could have ran. Like, that's not fair to do that. And so, like, I needed to speak out about, telling people, well, you had a choice. You could have said this, or why did you wait so long to speak out? It's like you can't do that. You can't say those things. And
Well, so
like,
I think
okay.
what she was trying to convey was the factor that how the Me Too movement started taking a shift was that a lot of these women or actresses, whatever, had the opportunity to, they did actually have a choice. And they chose not to go on and do the thing to advance their career, which hurt them and diminished their own self-worth for themselves. Instead of, it's what she's trying to do is implement this factor that new girls that are coming along in her generation, because she's only just 30,
She's
is
like
she's just 30, yeah. So in her generational factor, she's very like, if you look at this thing, that no means no. Like that you have the opportunity to that some of these situations don't have to actually go down, that there has to be an inner strength of fight for yourself that happens. And I think new millennials and new generations are very different than us that are over 40 in the thought process of career, moving forward. Their sense of equality to a man is very, very different than women in our age group.
Yeah, and I understand
How
that.
do you feel about that?
And I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, with the Me Too movement, a lot of the women that were coming forward were women from our age group. So what I'm
Right,
saying is
but also I come from the world. I come from the casting couch world. I've never had to lay on a casting couch to get a role. I've other
you're
brilliant
also
actresses never
right
had to
in
do that.
vagina, though.
And my thing is, and don't get me wrong, it's literally back then. The casting couch has been glamorized since the 1920s. There are productions, plays, musicals, movies all about the casting couch. My thing is, they have celebrated this casting couch factor for so very, very long that to the point where the new generation of kids aren't here for the casting couch because they're doing OnlyFans. Like we didn't have that. We didn't have the know-how to take our sexuality and create a business with it.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It is a very different world. And so, like, and I think it was kind of funny because her thing is like she made the joke about like Aziz, which was even for me was hard. Aziz was like Aziz is he's a 5'5" Indian. And she says, you ain't never in your life heard, yo, that Indian whoop that bitch ass. Like, not never. A sentence.
Where? Never.
And she was like, I was mad. She's like, because what you wanted to hear at the end of the accusation was, and I knocked that motherfucker out. Like, that's what she wanted to, like, and she was like, that was where the disappointing factor was. She was like, this fear of being crippled only exists if you allow it to exist.
And I disagree with that though. I
Well,
think
that's
that
Listen, I'm not a woman, so I can't speak to that. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't know women of my age that would agree with that either. I don't know. I think it's changed quite a bit from, like you were saying. I think women of our age, probably that's how things had to get done.
Right.
But now maybe the younger woman, and I'm just offering this up because I think that maybe these younger women who are realizing that they are far more talented than most of the men that they're surrounded by,
Which is true.
have put out and are with this Me Too movement. Suddenly, these ladies that are our age or age group, who had to do what they had to do in the past, are realizing that that's fucked up, and they're empowered now to speak up and speak out. So I want to hear their stories. I want to lend an ear to that and be like, no, that's not right. That you are valid in thinking that you were taken advantage of, and I don't know. I mean, I just think that it's hard to speak for women when you're not a woman.
We have a resident woman on panel,
Right.
as a
Katera.
young black woman in the world. What are your thoughts about that whole part? What she said?
I mean, I kind of agree with you with these things because when I read the story too, I was like, why didn't you just punch him? But no, I get it because like your generation older, like you got your job by the casting couch. Like it didn't matter how talented you were. You could be the most talented one in the world, but if you didn't go on the casting couch, then he picked one that slept with him. Like simple fact, it wasn't really about talent; it was about who was willing to give the man what he wanted. And I think that the OnlyFans thing, like vaguely, I think that's just more of a women were smart enough to monetize their sex appeal because men were stupid enough to pay for it. Like if you're dumb enough to pay for something that you can just Google and see a free image of, then you should be smart enough to charge for it.
It's like
and
Sherry Pie.
women don't want to do anything. They want to go back to their normal lives and do that. And this is just like a quick side hustle with money, whatever.
Right.
But the
Well,
Me Too
there's a strong woman right now that's we're gonna celebrate. That's making her own moves in that factor, as you were saying, Katera. Lena Way. Katera, take it away.
Yeah, she said in an interview that she wants to see more Black and people of color things get nominated for Emmys because she was only able to do all that she's done, which is produce Queen and Slim. She has a show about open marriage and development. She has a new horror series in development. All of this stuff is only possible because she got that Emmy. And she was able to raise the bar, and now she can raise her price and all that. And other Black and brown people don't get that opportunity, not because they're not talented, but because they're not even being considered in the conversation. Like they're being excluded, like BET shows. I mean, they're not that great. So bad example, but those for the all Black cast don't get considered. Dray was saying the show in Bravo don't get considered, and so it's a weird monopoly of there's only certain shows that they'll look at for Emmys, and those shows happen to be predominantly white. But Black and brown people are making great art. Like look at Euphoria, look at On My Block, look at Insecure, look at all these newer shows that have predominantly Black and brown cast that are great, that aren't getting the same recognition as Friends. Not that great.
Friends really was shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was horrible. Like, Friends was a stolen idea from a Black show.
Now I'm a big fan
of the Walmart version of Living Single.
Yeah. Like Friends was a stolen idea from a Black show. Their first show was Living Single, and then Friends was developed out of that.
I saw that on what was it? The Netflix. There was like a Netflix show. Yeah.
So like, I mean,
the producer literally was like, I was inspired by blah blah.
Right.
No
I mean,
shit.
this goes back to like how they how Black music was plagiarized, where you had Black artists like Mama Thornton, that was the original singer of Hound Dog, and then they gave it they stole it and gave it to Elvis Presley, and it became a American songbook song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, with not giving Mama Thornton actually any credit, where she wrote it, she wrote words and the music, and it was just stolen from her. Or if we go back to like one brilliant thing that I did like about the Dreamgirls movie was how they showed
blatant plagiarism and stealing of
how plagiarism really worked, in the sense where it was, if you had enough money, you could destroy one artist and take their amazing song, put a white face on it, and it was like a complete like rap. And so, which is kind of like crazy. But then we also have that in comedians. I was so funny in doing some research this weekend for Darius' show about comedy. I was kind of interested in the fact that Sam J. So some Sam J people I'm like friends with, so that's how I found out about the Sam J. And I'm like, they were like, yeah, she's this really funny lesbian that's been around forever, but nobody really knows who she is. I was like, that's kind of crazy. So I Googled gay, black, lesbian comics. And so
Wanda Sykes.
I was going to say 10
Wanda Sykes.
Sykes.
Lena Waithe, Sam J, and Bob the Drag Queen.
Oh, no.
That was it.
Are you serious?
And I love Bob the Drag Queen. That is my boo.
I love
her.
Bob.
But
Bob is
Bob the Drag Queen was Miss Kitty doing the Comedy Lab, like working all of this out, where she's always been a stand-up comedian, but as a drag queen. And now, you know, not only did Bob win RuPaul's Drag Race, but also has a hit show on HBO called We're Here. And
oh my God,
which is
so good.
I mean,
it makes me cry every time.
It is high energy tears.
Tears. It makes me cry.
Like there's no way not to watch it and not cry on every single episode.
Wow.
The grandpa episode.
I can't. The drag queen fabulous, and you get walking away with emotions and feelings that you don't want. Like it's really a whole situation in that. She's joined
Is this show
Shangela and Eureka. It's a really great story about. Well, I guess for me, living in a large city, New York City, whatever, where being gay is not a big deal here. Like, you can walk up down the street, the whole nine, whatever. It's not really this big deal compared to if you're like in Peoria or you're in Iowa, you know, where being gay is like the most sacrilegious thing that you could possibly try to bring up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but salute to all of our fantastic, black, phenomenal women this week. Jeff?
What?
You were going to say something. I saw it in your face.
No, I just can't really say enough good things about that show because I get anxiety before I sit down because I know I'm going to cry. I mean, I cry at everything, but like that show, like I was saying, the grandpa episode where grandpa comes out, just thinking about it right now, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So when grandpa comes out to watch his grandson perform.
Do you need a tissue, Jeff?
I do. Oh,
right.
No, it's like, it still has me. What happened?
Well, it's picked up for season 2 already, so which is fantastic on HBO.
Yeah.
And HBO is trying to do the thing between We're Here, Insecure,
Legendary,
Destroy. I Could Destroy You. Which I Destroy You is such an amazing. If you're not watching this series on HBO, it is a amazing, like traumatic, tragic,
What's the name of it again?
livable story. I May Destroy You.
I May Destroy You.
I May Destroy You. So,
Okay.
But that's
I
an extra $19.99 on my Hulu. I can't do that.
I need to ask a question
Yeah.
of Black Caucus of this room, which is everybody aside from myself.
You
This
know
show,
you like
what was the show that you just said with the I just watched my first episode the other night. With the house with the
Oh, Legendary.
Legendary.
Okay.
Ugh.
Ugh. I have notes. Many notes.
Okay. Here we go. Let's go.
Let's
do it.
I don't really. Okay, this is my question to everybody here. How do you feel about a house mother being a straight white woman?
So, all of the women in House of Ninja were straight white women or in Asian women. They were all cisgender.
There's one. What's the house? She's like whiter than me, white. No.
Oh, yeah. She has like she has brown hair. I know who you're talking about.
Oh,
is
no.
it Ebony?
So you're talking about
and it's the house of
House
Ebony.
of Escada.
Yeah.
It's the House of Ebony.
Oh yeah. So
and she's like the white straight mother, and everybody else around her.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait a second. I like Dennis and I put it on pause. We're like, what's happening with this house? And I have my issues with that because it felt like on one hand I was like, I'm happy to see our culture, I guess, be accepted, but I felt it so. It didn't feel right. I had to turn the show off.
It didn't feel like it needed to be there.
Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't. What did you say, Dwayne?
You felt like it didn't need it to be there. She just doesn't need to be there.
Well, I just felt like it was kind of like the antithesis, like an antithesis of like appropriation.
Okay.
Well, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I don't know. Nothing felt right about that show to me at all.
Because that's a full breakdown of a whole lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna take Legends into
Legends,
and I'm gonna kick it over to Dwayne A. Townsend and his Karen Gone Wild commentary. These are funny.
Ready to go?
All right, here we go, guys.
Badass. I'm trying to get out of the parking lot. I'm not that lazy that I have to go through a drive-through. You don't need to pull through someone.
Well, when you're trying to, it looks like you're trying to cut me off.
I don't have to get in line and sit in my car.
You have a really smart mouth to have chickens in that seat.
Well, you know what? You're so rude.
Well, I didn't know what you were doing. Thank you. Excuse me. Excuse me. I can't see you. Oh my goodness. I'm not that whatsoever, honey.
Okay. I feel like I was supposed to be like on the camera woman side, but I'm not, because for one, if I'm leaving I'm in a parking spot and you're in a drive-thru, clearly why would I cut you off if I'm in a parking spot and you're in the drive-thru? Like, I got my food. So no, she was not trying to cut you off. She was trying to get out of her parking spot. Like, I feel like she was like trying to be a Karen. She wasn't really a Karen. Like, she was annoyed that like I'm not like let me out. Because I feel the same way out. Like, the parking lot is all slammed. People and those people will let you out because you're not trying to cut. Like, you see me walk out of the restaurant into my car. I am in a parking spot, therefore I am not going through the drive-thru. Let me out and go with my day. And then, like, I feel like that was a bad example of a Karen because she wasn't being a Karen. Like, she was just trying to go on with her date, and the woman in the car got at her. She was like, "I thought you were going to cut me off and cut me in line," and blah blah blah.
She could have just simply just walk up to her and say, "Hey, I wasn't trying to just be nice about it." But the fact that she went off on her was just like, hey, fat ass, I'm not trying to cut in front of you. Like,
Okay, so
Karen for back
the only one
back up
stuck in her bad plastic surgery work. I didn't hear anything that she said. Like,
I heard it.
what?
she said,
Dray, shut up.
it was right at the end, right at the very end. I was like, I hope y'all caught that.
Like she is the whole reason to bring Black back on television. That face was hit in the mouth.
Frozen.
Oh my god.
Yes, just wrong. Just like,
Moving on.
But I feel like the attitude was okay because you're coming at me, but I'm gonna come at you. But that's just Gemini energy. But like she wasn't wrong because you're getting attitude, and I'm just trying to go on with my day.
True.
And you're recording it, and I'm about to give you a show. So like, don't be rude and expect to get kind and stuff. Why am I being nice to you when you were probably rude to me before you hit record?
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Like you want me to be polite to you, like, oh, I was just gonna pass out, but you're probably honking your horn, like, don't cut me off. Don't just like, girl, get your Big Mac with a large fry and relax.
Okay, to the next clip.
Oh, these are fun. Oh God.
I hate people do that.
Look, she looked like the Hamburger.
She is upset and she is hungry. Don't mess with a woman who's hungry.
Wants her chicken nuggets, y'all.
I don't blame her.
10 minutes.
Oh, girl, don't get
Give me my damn food.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's a Karen.
That's a Karen.
Okay, that lean made me want to punch her. Lean. I felt my fist.
Listen, that's how I am when I'm in Starbucks and I don't get what I need.
To the that lean on the counter. That she threw the stuff. It was that she threw the stuff and she went up and leaned on the counter. Like, and what?
What are you gonna do?
Can I make me want to reach back to Genesis and knock her into the New Testament?
All right, I believe we have one more, correct?
Oh, please.
I think let's go to this one. There's one I want to absolutely show.
This one, yes, the very last one.
Yeah, we're gonna do this one.
Mm-hmm. You'll love this one, guys.
Y'all finna be mad.
Happy birthday, dear Ashley. Happy birthday to you. Sorry guys, but I'm working inside and they're making my phone work and my husband is going to yell at me. Your dog's about before I even said anything. But I'm on the yeah, that's a problem with your dog. That's the problem with your dog. You're outside making noise. Okay, I didn't make any noise though before your dog started barking. Saying happy birthday? Your dog was barking before I even.
Ew!
That my problem or yours? I'm not understanding you're not,
It's a happy birthday, you fucking bitch.
Because I was knocking her door before your dog started barking. I'm gonna say my sister happy birthday and I'm gonna leave. No, because we're social distancing. Do you not understand that? I do. Okay, so close your door. So close your door. And let me carry on about my fucking day.
Oh, that
Close your
poor
door.
girl. She was having a birthday moment. This fucking bitch.
Yeah, happy birthday. Because the bitch got a problem.
A problem.
How about I just sit down?
I can
never happened to me for a good reason.
What happened, Kat?
I said I feel like this never happened to me for a good. Like I never Karen, and I want one bad.
Listen, I was gonna tell Kat. Listen, I was at. Did I tell you guys the story a couple weeks ago? I was at Fire Island. First day there, and one of our house guests brings somebody over. It's like this older couple that he's known forever, and I start hearing this conversation about how they were sympathizing with Trump, and I was like, am I
Did my ears deceive me?
Because I am actually hard of hearing. I was like, am I only catching bits and pieces of this? So I go over and I hear, and I'm like, no, confirmed. And I look over at Dennis, my man, and he's at the end of the pool, and he looks at me and he goes, don't. Because he knows,
Oh my God.
he knows, Kat, that I will be the one to fucking ruin the entire.
Did you go off?
Throw a bitch over the fence.
This guy came to
literally.
He's not one of our patients, but his wife is. And this fool was wearing a MAGA hat, a Trump t-shirt, and then a face mask that was Trump's mouth that said China on it.
Oh my God!
I don't fight with the mentally ill, so I'm gonna let you just go on with your day. But this is mental illness. Because you want someone to like pick a fight with you, like this is mental illness.
You're trying it. You're trying it. I gotta tell one story and then I'll shut up. I swear, I promise. So one of my favorite, I don't know if I told you guys this before, but my favorite drag queen, Keisha Carr, that's my girl. I fucking love her.
Carr, y'all.
I love her. She was in the audience out in Fire Island. And this white Staten Island lady stood up and said, like in the middle of this drag performance, screamed on the top of her lungs, apparently, I'm so sick about hearing about how Black Lives Matter. I'm a teacher too, and I am totally neglected and blah, 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 like this big old white lesbian teacher. And my friend Taryn, Keisha, texted me this, and I was just like, I'm so glad that I wasn't there because I'd done be in jail again. Like,
I'm about to send you a TikTok.
Not once, but twice.
Twice. So, Kat, I hear you because, like, I don't know how one develops such patience for people because
I love having a job and. There are some things that I might actually be fired for, even though I say I can't get fired. I feel like going off on a Trump supporter, like that might be.
That will set you over the top.
So I'm always like, I put on blind. I'm like, okay, like here's your stuff. I don't even look at them. I'm like, go on with your day.
So my major issue with that last clip is, I am a supporter of animals. That's totally fine, but I got issues with dogs because they get so much more respect than Black folk. So
they do.
A dog got breathed on wrong.
And it's because but the Cat, here it is. We're straight up at the pier yesterday, and one of our party is paying attention to this dog, and I'm about to like slit this dog's throat because I think it's like, no, we're out here together. We spending time together. It ain't about this dog right now.
So, Cat, it was your Uncle Nathan.
Okay, like he loves dogs,
right? Like, but no. So we're at the pier. We're at Christopher Pier, having this amazing like summer brunch picnic outside, and this random guy comes up, sits behind us, social distancing, but has his new puppy. He was like 6 years old, on the super long leash. So the dog just, of course, runs Nathan because all dogs do. You know how this goes. And Nathan is full on, hey, buddy, and da-da-da, like egging the dog on to even act up even more. So all I care about is if this dog roll up in this food, I'm going to fight. So as long as the dog stay behind Nathan, I'm good. But if this dog roll up on my $15 prosciutto, the dog is going down.
Yeah, boundaries. Like, yes, your dog can be friendly, but also the leash can be 20 feet. The leash
right, not on the charcuterie board. No.
Not the charcuterie board.
No.
The only thing I love more than dogs is the good charcuterie board. So
right, and it was beautiful.
That's true.
I'm with you on that because I have a dog. I've had him for over a decade, and he's my baby boy, and I'm so responsible with him. I make sure he's not up in people's business.
Thank you.
And it's a real fuck, except when you come into my house, because
you
you come into my house, then you're in my house. You're in his house. But when he's outside, when he's on the leash, I keep him close to me. And if people are interested in saying hello, I'll loosen up the leash and whatnot. Not on one of these extendo leashes that are illegal in New York, by the way.
New
But
York has so many rules.
it's bad. It's bad because like for dog owners like me, people that do that kind of shit makes it difficult for us to bring our dogs out, you know? So that's really disappointing to hear that. Like,
It's really bad. So
it's
speaking
shitty.
about dogs and having their day, so George Wallace decided that he was going to drag Nancy Pelosi and got his ass handed to him on Fox News in talking about the executive orders that Trump actually put out for the unemployment and eviction factors and for school loans. So Nancy Pelosi and and GOP are $1 trillion apart in the sense of coming up with a feasible bill for the American people. And the Democrats are very, very, very upset right now. But so is the GOP that Trump decided to do this. Even though Trump was banking on them not to come with a decision so he can make these executive orders to feed to his base on, I do care about you. And so I'm going to make sure that you get this money. But what they did not tell them was, you're not going to get the money. So how the unemployment assistance program is set up with the executive order, it is no longer under the unemployment assistance program. It goes through FEMA, that is currently bankrupt, wanting the states that are currently, if not bankrupt already, very close to it, to pay 25% of it, meaning that you're already money that you are given for unemployment that is owed to you. That means they're going to subtract $100, so you would really only get $300. But because Orangina decided that he was going to have a House of Cards moment and said and like create this program like America Works, like that happened on House of Cards, and have FEMA pay for it and run in, talk about stick 'em up, and you're gonna pay people that they don't have the money for. So we are hoping that by the end of this week, that the Dems and GOP can actually come with a plan. Part of the larger issue is Newton is very concerned about the factor that most Americans do not like this. The additional $600, they were actually making more money on $600 than they've ever made in their entire existence.
Which is a problem.
But
This
that's what the larger issue is.
That America is a third world country.
Right, and it'll force GOP to have to actually really look at how pay structure really is, because the issue with unemployment is not based upon all of your jobs. It's based upon the job you have been at the longest with the largest amount of salary.
Yep.
So most New Yorkers work 2 and 3 jobs, but they only get unemployment for 1 job.
Wow.
And
that's why I put my unemployment
enough to make the maximum amount that you're supposed to get. So like you can't get more than $504 a week pre-tax. And so, but most people wind up with $200 to $400 of that money, not the max money, if you are not in a place where you have been there long enough and your salary is not more than $65,000 a year. This is where the issue comes. And so GOP does not want to be responsible because they are responsible for the wage gap. And this would force them to have to take responsibility. So Mutin is trying to change it back so that, no, people want to go back to work. Well, you don't have a choice to go back to work because unemployment is temporary. After you run out of your weeks, I mean, they have initiated a plan where if you do run out of your weeks while we're in the pandemic, you will be extended 20 more weeks. But the average American is only on unemployment for no more than 6 months.
Well, the issue is that no one's receiving it. At least here in Nevada, people have not gotten their unemployment for March. One of my friends, they owe him $15,000 worth of unemployment because he filed back when COVID happened, and they never, like, people are not getting their money. Like,
well, I think
$15,000 that he's owed in his unemployment that he has paid into, that he has not received, and he filed back when COVID hit, back when he lost his job, and nothing's happening. And
well, and Dwayne, you being a business owner, how is that working for you with this unemployment factor?
Well, like you said before, I was able to get unemployment for one job, which is this gym job that I have in Philadelphia. And they said, hey, it's time for you to come back to work. So I've been doing that now recently. But in New York, where I usually work all the time, I work with under the SAG-AFTRA,
Right.
and we haven't gotten anything for our job, and they're still not working. We're still not working.
Right.
So I have to create my own my kind of own business thing, doing online classes with everyone and saying, hey guys, I would love for you guys to, to continue to watch these videos. And, if you like these videos, you can always donate, stuff like that. So there's ways around it. And that's how I keep myself employed, self-employed. So
hustle, that hustle.
Well,
yeah,
with
you gotta
the
hustle.
stimulus plan, what you will be able to do is, because you are a small business, be able to actually apply for a $30,000 grant that you don't have to pay back.
I was just about to ask
because
you that. Do I have to pay that back?
You are your only employee.
Yeah.
So you would maintain all of your own assets because you don't have to cut payroll. But so now, Jeff, now that we're in the pandemic, what I've noticed now is that the bars in New York City are starting to do grab and go so that they can actually open the bars to happen. Darius and I, over the weekend, wound up at the Monster that has never had food. All of a sudden, has grab and goes for you to be able to get out.
But that's also outside, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I say what else I gotta say is, for the record, I can't wait to get back to work. I didn't realize how much being a bartender was my social outlet, and it's good money. I can make it a career, and you make a lot of connections, and I can't wait to get back to work. So for the argument that, for me, I hate to hear the argument that it's not an incentive to get back to work. I think that's bullshit, and I think a lot of New Yorkers feel that way because I didn't move to New York to sit on my fucking hands and not work. You know what I mean? Like, I want to work, but the jobs here are few and far between, despite what anybody fucking says. And the bar that I work in, we can't do takeaway. We can't do grab and go. One of the bars that I work in is literally shares the building with a hospital, so we can't block off the street to have street service.
Right.
And 200 feet down from our front door is a school, so we can't do that. The other bar I work in, Barracuda, that's the one I manage down there. That's a sister bar to Industry. That bar we can't open because we have never served food in 25 years. So we can't be like.
But all of the bars are doing it now.
we don't even like. There's not even a place to plug in like a Foreman grill to like fucking
Right.
cook up
Okay.
some hot dogs or something.
Right.
Like it's not going to work out, you know. So
But I think it's kind of weird that the requirement for bars to be open is that they serve food because
it's ridiculous.
no, because when you're drinking, like you're kind of like with your group. Like, it's
Yeah,
Right.
no,
I feel
I
like
know.
that's more social distance. Like at a really like, chill bar, like not a nightclub. Like it's good because even the place I go to now, like they're required. You have to order food if you want to sit down.
Yeah,
You order your drinks too. But I
Yeah.
mean, the food requirement makes it more dangerous because they have like the cook touching the food, breathing over the food. They have like the waiter, like of all the
it's so much.
where you can be contaminated, and it's such a weird requirement.
Yeah, and I think what they're trying to do is just have people outside, and they're giving passes on people. You know, and I don't think it's any secret. I'm not a fan of the NYPD, but not for nothing, they are turning a blind eye when they see people on the street with open container right now because they know people just have to get fucking through this bullshit. So that's one example that they're actually practicing with and I come from a cop family. They're practicing what's called a spirit of the law. So they know that what's going on is illegal, but they also know that shit's fucked up. So in this very specific case, this very specific instance, and it happened to me with a bunch of my friends on the street. They knew exactly what they were doing. They pulled up and rolled down their window and just looked at us, and we got up and walked away. There was no words. There was no interaction. Just like disperse and get the fuck out, you know? But you're right, Kat, to have to add food to it. And I hope someday you could come in and I can get you fucked up. But
I'm waiting for the day I can leave.
like all of you, I can't wait. Now I've gotten Dre fucked up, and I'm
I
spilling his
can't
tea
wait
here.
if I can go to a bar and get drunk again.
Oh my
But
God!
there's no
I'm
the bars
Margs, everyone. Margaritas for everyone.
Conversations over Jameson and over Big Gingers. I missed him, Jeff, so much.
Like I cannot wait to be in a bar.
Y'all, I'll get you fucking lit. I can't wait. I can't
Like,
wait.
I had to literally have a conversation that was like, I'm too old to be staggering home. So,
You're never too old to be staggering
home.
home.
See me, but
it's a way of life.
What happened?
I said you're never too old. It's just a way of life. Like you can either handle your liquor or you
I can handle my liquor.
Or
handle your liquor.
Then
or you can be served by me.
Like Everclear is a no for me. We learned that.
We're drinking Everclear.
Yes. Everclear will never happen again.
We learned that.
Listen, Kat. Listen, you
Katerina,
say that now, but you haven't been served by me. I'm gonna get you fucked up, and they're gonna make you eat your words afterwards.
This has been a fantastic episode, you guys. Thank you guys for joining. So, everyone, tune in next week, Mondays, with Working Out with Darius on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I was like, and of course, always CityLoveSpeask on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. As I always say, if you don't love yourself, don't expect nobody else to love you. Have a great rest of the week. Take a little time and tell somebody that you love them. See you guys next week. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Dray. Thanks for having me. Good seeing you guys.
Bye, everyone.